new shit. What up, y'all? You're listening to Sports Talk with Tropp, and I'm your host, Katie Tropp. That's right, y'all. We have us a new intro. That song right there is off of my upcoming album, Suck My Dick, which drops this Saturday, April 6th, on all digital retailers, so you can check that out. But this track's called Mamba Mentality, and I thought it would fit perfectly as an intro track for the podcast. Don't worry about Jack Tatum. That song has gone nowhere. It's just I'm dropping new music. I figured this would fit right in, so I'm gonna keep using that as the intro track, probably at least for the next month, possibly until we see how far the Lakers go in the playoffs. Maybe that's what I'll do. Maybe I'll keep playing the intro track of Mamba Mentality until the Lakers playoff run potentially ends or they win a championship. Who knows? But I'll keep it for a couple of months then. So for sure. But that and Jack Tatum, I'll be rotating the both of them. I haven't decided. I'll probably maybe do it on a weekly basis, where one week I do Jack Tatum as the intro, next week Mamba Mentality, something like that. But expect to hear Mamba Mentality as the intro for the podcast for the next couple of months, because the Lakers are definitely going to make a playoff run. They're at least going to make the playoffs, that's for sure. At least that's the way it's looking right now. Also, not only do I have a new intro track today, Mamba Mentality, but I also dropped a new music video for my single, The Butcher Knife 2-Step, which is also featured on my upcoming album, Suck My Dick, which comes out on Saturday. So you can check that out on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Katie Tropp, or go to my official website, katietropp.net, and you will find it on there. You can also go to click on the Sports Talk with Tropp tab on my website, and you will also find some preferred sports books that I recommend for you to sign up if you're into gambling, especially since we've got a shit ton of sports going on right now. That means there's a shit ton of money you could be spending on gambling if you choose to do so. So, yeah. Like I said, I've got a new album dropping on Saturday. If you didn't know, now you know. But anyways, let's get to the sports talk. And let's talk about our brackets. How's your bracket doing? Mine has not exploded completely yet. I still have my champions, Purdue, in there. I still have them. I mean, we might as well talk about them. Let's talk about what happened in the Elite Eight over the weekend. Purdue had a nice game against Tennessee. It actually was pretty close for the most part, but then Purdue started to pull away in the second half. And Zach Edey, this guy is having a tournament. I mean, he's actually been having a really solid couple of years, but this year in particular, you know, he had a great regular season with Purdue, and this entire tournament, he's been phenomenal. He made such a huge block towards the end of the game yesterday when Tennessee was trying to make a run, but he just made the big plays. He stepped it up. He's been dropping free throws like no other. This guy is just nuts. That's actually why I picked Purdue to win it all in my bracket, just because I think he's just such a great talent, at least for Purdue. You know, he's been fantastic to watch, and you know, he keeps proving it. So Purdue got the win over Tennessee, 72-66. Then we had UCONN versus Illinois. And speaking of domination, UConn has dominated this tournament like no other. Well, they've actually dominated the entire season. I'm sorry, they've dominated the last two seasons since they are the defending national champions. But this tournament in particular, they have beat every single opponent they've faced by a 30-point margin so far. 30 fucking points. It hasn't even been close in any fucking game that they've played. You know, Illinois played the first half pretty solid to start, but then UConn was like, nah, bitch. We are UConn. Sit the fuck down. And UConn just smashed their asses. It is going to take a lot for UConn to lose this championship. I mean, honestly, I feel like the only way UConn does not win the national championship is because they get in their own way. And I don't really think that's going to happen. I feel like they're really, I mean, they already have won a championship, so they know what it takes to just keep it moving. And we'll see what happens, but they just smashed yet another team and made Illinois look like chumps. Then we had another close, fun game was between Alabama and Clemson. Went back and forth for a while there in the first half, but then Alabama really started to pull away in the second half. They got the win 89-82 and are heading to their first Final Four in their college history. And then the upset of the day between Duke and NC State. NC State dominated Duke's ass 76-64. It was not even close. First half, started out close. Second half, NC State just smashed them in the face. It was something to watch because Duke has been a pretty dominating team for the most part, but NC State was like, nah, bitch. We here, and we moving on to the Final Four, and NC State dominated Duke 76-64. So our Final Four matchups coming up this weekend are going to be UConn versus Alabama and NC State versus Purdue. We'll actually go more in depth on those matchups, of course, on Friday's show. But, man, those were some good. Other than the UConn game, the other three games were actually close for at least the first half. NC State really started to pull away in the second half, and it really wasn't close. But then the other two games between Purdue and Tennessee and Alabama and Clemson, those actually were fun games to watch. And it's been a pretty solid tournament so far, but we'll see what happens next week and who ends up ultimately being the national championship or national champion. Moving on to basketball in my top 10 NBA power rankings, we are getting closer and closer to the playoffs. The power rankings not looking a whole lot different. I do have a new number one, though, this week. And might as well get right into it. It is the Denver Nuggets. They are 52-23. I've been feeling like they are better than the Boston Celtics over the last month, really. But I'm just been giving Boston the respect because, they do have a lot more wins on their record. But the Eastern Conference is a lot more weak than the Western Conference. And the Nuggets are in the most difficult division in the NBA this season. So, Boston getting smashed last week twice by Atlanta, blowing the 30-point lead. And they've just been falling apart these last couple of weeks. Whereas Denver, even though they did have a loss this week to Phoenix and Minnesota, those are at least good competitive teams in the Western Conference, whereas Atlanta is just a play-in team at this rate. But nonetheless, I do have Denver at number one. I feel like they're the best overall team in the NBA. They are the defending champs. They just look locked and ready to go to make another playoff run. They actually clinched a playoff spot this week, so they are headed right back at it. And I would not be shocked to see them hoist the trophy yet again at the end of the season. Not falling far, though, to number two, top 10 NBA power rankings this week is the Boston Celtics. Overall record of 58-16. They are 8-2 in their last 10 games, so it's not like they've fallen off the face of the earth. But, like I said, the two losses to Atlanta. One of them was a huge blown 30-point lead, So, then the week before that, they had another huge lead that they blew. So they're just starting to have these games where you could just see the cracks start to show in this team. And you don't want to see that headed towards the playoffs. And they aren't looking as rock solid. And they are starting to get pretty desperate when it comes to the three-pointers. I mean, that's kind of been their thing all season long. But it's starting to look pretty desperate in the games that they are down. And that's not going to be good once you hit a 7-game series against a team that knows how to battle. But who knows? It's the Eastern Conference, and there's not a lot going on out there besides the Celtics. Then at number 3 on my top 10 NBA power rankings of the Oklahoma City Thunder. Overall record of 52-22. They're 7-3 in their last 10 games. They also clinched a playoff spot this week, so they are secure and locked in, ready for the postseason. And, like I keep saying, this has been the most consistent regular season team all year. I've had them in my top 10 all season. I started the season off putting them towards the bottom, not really believing them, but as the season has worn on, they have proven themselves to be legit. Now, obviously, we don't know what's going to happen come playoff time, but in the regular season, they have maintained their dominance. They have not lost a step, and they haven't even really had a major losing streak unlike pretty much every other team in the season. This past week, they did get some big wins. They won three out of their 4 games this week. They won against the Pelicans, Phoenix, and the Knicks. So those are all playoff teams. And then they actually lost to the Houston Rockets, who have been one of the hottest teams in the league. But I mean, a lot of people are talking about them, but they're not really a team I look at and go, yeah, they're going to make some noise come playoff time. They probably won't even make the playoffs. There's a chance. There is a chance they could make the playoffs, but I don't really see it happening. But Oklahoma City, they just keep playing great. Nobody's falling back. Nobody's losing a step, and they're actually not falling back like the Boston Celtics are. In Oklahoma City, they're beating good teams and not really losing a lot lately. Then at number 4 on my Tropp 10 NBA Power Rankings of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Overall record of 51-23. They're 7-3 in their last 10 games. They did get a big win over their division rivals in the Denver Nuggets earlier in the week. So definitely need that for their they have not clinched a spot yet, but I mean, they're right there. They should be clinching a spot any day this week, I would expect. And they just keep playing really well. No Karl Anthony Towns, and they still keep it moving. Defensively look fantastic. Offensively look fantastic. So we'll see what this team's got come postseason. Then at number 5 on my Tropp 10 NBA Power Rankings of the New Orleans Pelicans. Overall record of 45-29, 6-4 in their last 10 games. They did have a down week this week. They did suffer a loss to the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Boston Celtics, but they did get a big win over the Milwaukee Bucks. But they really are just continuing to dominate in the paint. Zion's getting stronger as the season wears on. McCollum's really starting to take over the scoring role on this team, and they just really are dominating in the paint. They're getting a lot of rebounds and second chance points. They're just a really good overall team, and I expect them to be a problem for teams in the playoffs. Then at number 6 on my Tropp 10 NBA Power Rankings of the Dallas Mavericks. Overall record of 45-29, and the hottest team in the league right now is the Dallas Mavericks. They are 9-1 in their last 10 games, but they are currently on a 7-game winning streak. They have not lost in a couple of weeks now. As a matter of fact, I believe it was, March 14th, something around there. It was the last time they lost. So it's been about 3 weeks since the Mavericks have lost, and they've been smashing everybody. They even stopped the Houston Rockets. I think it was an 11-game winning streak that the Rockets had going there. Luka is just playing out of his mind. It's going to be shocking if the dude doesn't win the MVP at this point, just because he has been on a tear since the All-Star break, and it's undeniable too. He's been leading the league in points per game basically all season, especially since Joel Embiid went out with his injury. He really has. But I mean, it was basically Joel and Luka basically trading spots each and every week for who was leading the league in points per game. And he's back at it. But this team really looks solid offensively. It's just defense is where the problems lie. So we'll see what happens come playoff time with this team. But it looks like they are hot at the perfect time in the season. Then at number 7 on my Tropp 10 NBA Power Rankings of the Milwaukee Bucks. Overall record of 47-27. They're 6-4 in their last 10 games. This week they did lose to the Lakers and the Pelicans. So they did. It's just kind of what the Bucks have been doing all season long, is where they're up 1 week, down 1 week. And this week they did suffer those couple of losses, but they're still in it. The Eastern Conference is terrible. They do have Giannis, who Giannis has been playing at an MVP type level this year, but it's just there's so many other teams with playing with more consistency than the Bucks have. But Giannis has just been playing at a phenomenal level this year. And, I wouldn't be shocked to see them make some noise in the postseason, because they are a championship caliber team. It's just they're too streaky. So I wouldn't be shocked. It's like they get on a streak in the first round, but then they get on a bad losing streak in the second round and then are just knocked right out. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with this team once we get closer to the postseason. But, a healthy Giannis and a strong Giannis, that could help you once you make the postseason. And we also don't really know what Dame can do in the postseason, because he played with Portland for so many years. He doesn't really have a reputation in the postseason. He has made some big shots in the postseason, but not really in any major way where they move on to the Eastern Conference Finals or the NBA Finals or win a championship. So he hasn't done anything on that level. So it's going to be interesting to see if he's able to take them to another level in the postseason. But I mean, he's been great in the games that Giannis had to step out. But Milwaukee's been so streaky this year. They're really difficult to actually trust, especially when the postseason rolls around. Then at number 8 on my Tropp 10 NBA power rankings is the New York Knicks. Overall record of 44-30. They're 7-3 in their last 10 games. And Jalen Brunson, he is the number one on this team. There is no question that Jalen Brunson is the dude. He's averaging 28 points per game and 7 assists per game. So he's just in on every play. This team is excellent defensively. It's just they tend to have these offensive lulls. And it's not looking good for them to get their injured players back. So at least they're playing well without them, because it's looking like in the playoffs they're probably not going to get the injured players back is what it's looking like. And if they do get them back, it would be more later on, like Eastern Conference Finals around that time frame. But who knows? But Jalen Brunson is just dominating with each and every game. And the Knicks, they are also a Jekyll and Hyde team where they have these weird streaks, the winning and losing streaks. But right now they're winning and looking pretty good so far. Then at number 9 on my Tropp 10 NBA power rankings, the Los Angeles Lakers. Overall record of 42-33. They're 7-3 in their last 10 games, and they really are starting to get hot. And not just like they're going to lose this game. No, they're actually dominating. Anthony Davis has finally not been injured all season long. Any type of injuries that he's sat down for are minor injuries or just regular rest. And then LeBron, same thing. He's had a great year. And so the two of them have really, AD has taken over the number one guy role, obviously. And then LeBron is just having a phenomenal season. You know, he just knocked down 9 3-pointers yesterday against the Brooklyn Nets. And so that's the first time he's ever done that in his career. In his million-year-long career. The dude's almost 40 years old and still doing things he hasn't done yet. And then you've got Austin Reeves, who's really been stepping it up lately, and same with D'Angelo Russell as well. So the Lakers are actually looking like they could potentially make a nice playoff run, because you remember last year, this is exactly what they did last year. They made it into the play-in, and they were able to just put together a nice solid run all the way up to the Western Conference Finals. I don't have my hopes up that as they are a championship level team just yet, because they have not been able to figure out the Denver Nuggets. They have not been able to get a win against the Denver Nuggets since last year. And it's just been terrible. So if we face the Denver Nuggets, chances are we're out. But if we're able to somehow, the Nuggets are able to be knocked out by maybe like the Oklahoma City Thunder, for example, or the Timberwolves, another one of their kind of like rivals. If they're able to just magically get knocked out, well, look out for the Lakers, because they do have championship pedigree. They are the Lakers, and they are getting hot at the perfect point. I mean, they've actually been playing pretty solid basketball for the last month, and now they're looking really good. Anthony Davis is getting double-doubles practically every game at this point. Same with LeBron. And when one sits out, the other one's playing. And when that happens, both Reeves and D'Lo have both stepped it up. Their depth, not that great, so that could be a problem in the postseason. But right now, Lakers are playing pretty solid basketball at this point in time. And then rounding out the Tropp 10 NBA power rankings this week, I have the Los Angeles Clippers. Overall record of 47-27. They are 6-4 in their last 10 games. And they did win 3 out of their 4 games this week. So they are on the upswing this week, but that has been the story of the Clippers season all along. It's just been up and down. Like they go through these offensive lulls, and then they're on fire from 3, and they're just such an odd team, but that's what I expected from them, because they're not really a defensive team at all. Any team that James Harden is on is rarely going to have any type of defense on it, but this team in particular has no defense at all. But they are in the upswing of things. They are leading the division still, so, I mean, you got to give them credit. And, I mean, a lot of the other teams, like right now the Kings and the Suns, they're not playing as consistent, but I mean, really, I could have gone any one of them. But I just went with the Clippers solely because they are on that little 3-game winning streak right now this past week. So that is the Trop 10 NBA Power Rankings for this week. And, baseball finally started this weekend. So I will be getting baseball power rankings next week because obviously they only played one series. Every team only played one series this weekend. So obviously that's not enough baseball for me to judge any type of power rankings. So we'll see how they go throughout the rest of this week. And we will officially have baseball power rankings beginning next week. But we did have some crazy matchups this week and some big sweeps as well. And some teams just making some noise and letting y'all know they're here. But just because you start the season off this way does not mean you're going to end it that way. But we definitely did need to highlight some of these teams. And beginning with the New York Yankees had a 4-game sweep over the Houston Astros this weekend. I mean, it wasn't even close. It was Yankees, Yankees, Yankees all weekend. I mean, they weren't even scared. Juan Soto fits right the fuck in. Dude hit a home run. Their starting pitching looks pretty damn solid. Stroman pitched a gem the other day. And then their third baseman, Cabrera, this guy comes in and has 2 home runs over the weekend. So the Yankees look pretty solid, at least to start the season. They're 4-0. Then something that was just surprising, but I don't expect to stick around for long, is the Detroit Tigers swept the Chicago White Sox over the season. So they are 3-0 on the season. But like I said, I don't expect that to last very long because the Tigers are not a very good team. But hey, gotta give them their props at least to start the season, right? Then the Pittsburgh Pirates, another team, I don't expect them to stay here, but they did sweep the Marlins in a 4-game series, so they are 4-0 right now. They had a solid pitching from their rookie Jared Jones and Luis Ortiz, so both of those guys pitched gems. We'll see if they're able to continue that on, but if you'll remember, the Pittsburgh Pirates started off last year really, really good. I mean, they didn't lose for quite some time. I think they were on a really long winning streak, right up there with the Rays, and then they just really fell off as the season wore on. So we'll see what happens with the Pirates. I don't expect them to stay here, but hey, they started off the season 4-0, and you got to give them their props there. Then the Milwaukee Brewers also they swept the Mets this weekend, so they are 3-0 on the season, and Christian Yelich had a fantastic series, and Rhys Hoskins, their free agent pickup in the offseason, he is fitting right in. He had tons of runs over the weekend. I can't remember. I believe he might have had 10 RBI. I might be thinking of somebody else. I didn't write down his stats, but he definitely stepped right up and made an immediate impact on this Milwaukee Brewers team. And then the Arizona Diamondbacks. I did not know what to expect from this team. But they are coming off of their World Series run last year. They did lose in the World Series, but I wasn't sure what was going to be expected from them this season. And they went 3-1 over the weekend against the Rockies, so they took 3 of the 4 games and had a total of 32 runs scored. So get ready for the Arizona Diamondbacks. If that's the pace they're going to be setting this season, this team is going to be really fucking unstoppable. And Lourdes Gurriel Jr. was the leader of the pack with 3 home runs over the weekend and 10 RBI. That's who I was thinking of, who had the 10 RBI, not Hoskins. But Gurriel had the 10 RBI. So he has started off the season right. The Diamondbacks have started off the season right. And real talk, like I said, I did not know what to expect from them, but since they played so well last year, I am not going to be shocked if the Diamondbacks have a fantastic year this year with the young talent they've got, the solid starting pitching that they have as well. I think they're going to be a good team, and they started off the season right and said, hey, we are going to be a good team. So that's what we had in baseball this weekend. We did actually have a lot of good series going on, but I really just wanted to highlight the ones who got the sweeps, but also the Diamondbacks, just their straight up utter domination this weekend, especially on the offensive side of the thing, scoring all those runs, but also they were fantastic with their starting pitching as well. Fott had a great game. Of course, Gallen had a great game. So this team starting off the season right now. The Rockies are terrible, so that may not mean a lot right now, but when you are coming off of a World Series run like you did last year, that's always a great way to start off the season. And then we did have a little bit of NFL news over the weekend. Not good NFL news because it is the off season. And this is usually what happens in the off season because, they're not in their normal routines. They're just off doing their own things. And Rashee Rice, the wide receiver of the Kansas City Chiefs over the weekend, decided to, in his beautiful Corvette, by the way, race another guy in a Lamborghini, which was also another beautiful car. They both were racing each other on Dallas Highway and ended up getting in a car accident, I believe, with 11 other cars. It was a multi-car pileup. And these cool guys who started this initial accident, Rashee Rice and his other little homies, instead of sticking around, they opted to run away from the scene of the crime. And they're looking out for Rashee Rice to at least question him in this matter. But there is video of these guys not only racing on the highway and then getting in the car accident on the highway, but also of them running off of the highway. What I found most amusing of them running off of the highway, though, is one of these guys, not sure which one it was, but one of these really super tough guys was running off the highway with a fucking purse. That's right, a man purse. Now, I know, we live in this world where, dudes are wearing dresses now and shit. And, I have no issues with you do you. Especially, and I'm not talking about gay people, by the way. I'm talking about straight guys right now. Gay people are a whole different world to me. That is, you wear dresses, you wear makeup, you do the drag thing, or you just be a regular person. Do you. That's not who I'm talking about. I'm talking about these alleged straight dudes who have man purses and wear dresses and these horrible fucking flowy pants I've been looking at lately and their fucking pink lipstick. And these are all legit fucking examples I am throwing out there. But there is one thing I have a huge problem with, and that is a goddamn man purse. And when I was watching the video of this dude running with a fucking man purse away from this car accident, I was like, wow. Not only are you a cunt for running away from the scene of this accident that you guys caused, but you're also a fucking cunt for your man purse. And yes, you are a fucking cunt if you have a man purse. I am a woman and I don't carry a purse. So how do you think I feel when I see a dude in a man purse? Even when I've seen LeBron. When I see LeBron, because he has had man purses before, I'm like, no, dude. No. If you are a guy and you're my friend and you're walking around with a man purse, I'm not hanging out with you. I am not being seen out in public with you. And if we are seen out in public, I'm like wearing a shirt that says, I know he's got a man purse and I do not agree. That something similar to that. But dude, running away from the scene of a crime with a man purse. That was the fucking Real Housewives of Dallas right there. What the fuck was that shit? I couldn't stop laughing. But anyways, Rashee Rice is out on the loose and maybe getting arrested here or at least questioned here. But from the video evidence, it looks like he's going to be in some type of trouble. But obviously, no charges have been pressed. Nothing has happened, at least as of my recording right now. But we could have more news on this on Friday's show or as the story develops over time. But yeah, dudes running away from the scene of crime with man purses. Wow. That's what it's come to these days, guys. That is what it's come to. But anyways, I digress. Enjoy the rest of the week of sports, and I will talk to you man purses on Friday.